is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I am your hostess, doing the mostest, Kivanshi, and we are here with season 2, episode 5 of the Newsreader titled The Model Daughter. Now, I'm gonna just let y'all know this is a filler episode, okay? They had to put it in somewhere. Each season only has 6 episodes, so it has to go somewhere. However, for those of you who didn't grow up in the era of 26 episodes a season and like 12 of them were filler. Filler episodes really provide more context and subcontext and kind of fills in some of the gaps and shows you like the motivating factors behind why characters will make certain decisions. It'll kind of show you like some side things that's going on that maybe the character was frustrating you in some way, shape, or form. And in the filler episode, this is kind of where things come out. These are also opportunities where you get to understand characters a little more, and filler episodes also make or break your opinions about characters. I don't know if you've ever watched a show and you just did not like a character, and then there was a filler episode and you're just like, oh my god, I see where you're coming from, like, oh no, like this makes sense. And now you're on the character's side and you're hoping that the character trusts somebody enough to open up and do all these other things, right? In this episode, the filler did the exact opposite. Helen, girl, I hate you. I hate you. I got to know a little bit more about you. And it was already like a thread. It was already like a fine line, a little balance, something that was so delicate and so fragile in my relationship with Helen. And this episode, yeah, she plucked the string. It was like the fates in Hercules. She took the scissors, she cut it. It's over. It's done. I have no relationship with Helen anymore. Hopefully in season 3 they give me something else in a filler episode, but no, can't do it. So we are post proposal, okay? And this entire season, honestly, the entire relationship of Helen and Dale, it's like when in home ec or whatever class that they was taking back then, I didn't have this class, when they give you an egg and they're like, pretend it's a baby, don't kill your baby. And it was like Helen has been holding on to this egg, and she's had many like near death experiences with this egg, but she was doing good. The egg was alive. And then in last episode, it's like she looked at the egg and said, I don't want to do this anymore, and purposely let it go. And so now here we are with Dale and all of his eggy insides running amok the entire episode. And I was just like, Dale, baby, uncross your arm and pull your lip in. Like the whole episode, baby Dale, his lip was poked out. He was pouty. And I'm just like, I wanted to reach through and gather him in my bosom and rock him gently side to side and tell him everything is going to be okay. But in the midst of it all, in the throes of it all, Dale does not feel like it's going to be okay. And it's crazy because somebody as inexperienced as he is in many things, Dale has such strength when it comes to um communication, when it comes to wanting to be a better person. He's coming to work, he's trying to have these conversations with Helen. He even asked her like, why are you doing this? Like, okay, sure, you don't want to marry me, okay, cool, but like, that doesn't mean we have to break up. We can still live together. We could take this moment and give each other space. I'll sleep on the couch, you sleep in the bed. Like, there's things like he's thinking about not only the relationship, but he's thinking about what it also looks like as well. They've done whole campaigns surrounding their relationship, and Helen is just solely focused on her own feelings, and she's really not trying to have these conversations that she needs to have. Even if the decision is still ultimately, we can't be together immediately right now, and all these other things, he's wanting to talk, and she is blowing him off. Ma'am, you dated somebody at work who you looked at every day and was like, I love you. This man has had your back the entire time. Your mental health breakdowns, when people were stabbing you in the back, He's a listening ear to you. He's giving you advice. He's battling with you. He's going to bat for you. And this is how you treat him. This is how you treat him. No wonder he's getting drunk and in the club being so messy and kind of a violent drunk, but Dale never really got drunk. So this is kind of like the first time we're seeing this. And of course, in the midst of all of these things, who does he see after some time? Tim. Who also sees Tim? Jerry. And Jerry goes up to Dale at the holiday party that Helen was supposed to be hosting, but Dale ended up doing it. And Jerry's like, oh no, I see something there. You know what, Dale? We're going out. And Tim's like, Dale don't really like do shit like this. And Dale's like, I don't know what I do. So fuck it. We ball. And they go out, and this is the first time that Dale is kind of wrestling and confronting sexual identity freedom. He doesn't really know what to do and how to feel. And at one point, Jerry's like, oh no, he's cool. And Tim's like, bro, he's not fucking cool. If you really a friend, then you need to make sure he's okay. Like, I ain't never seen him like this. He don't even drink. Something is off with this man. Like, we need to make sure he's good. And so I'm actually really glad that Jerry listened, because what is the thing that is off? Helen was out and we're working on, Kay ended up reaching out. She wants to sell the story to News at 6 about her addiction and, basically feeling the weight of that underneath Geoff and Evelyn, like as famous parents. When Dale is in Helen's office, just trying to keep shit normal because nobody really at work knows what's going on. When Charlie Tate calls and leaves a super flirtatious voicemail. I said, Helen, girl, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? This man felt so comfortable with leaving something like that on a voicemail that anybody could overhear. Not even just Dale sitting in the office, but like anybody could overhear this, and Dale overheard it. And so now it's like, have you been cheating on me? Like, what is going on? So you have all of these things going through his head. And this is somebody who's inexperienced in a relationship, but honestly has been the most mature between the both of them in this particular relationship. And that's what really pisses me off. Like I've already said, like, for Helen to be the most outwardly experienced in everything that's going on, Dale is really going out of his way to make sure that she is taken care of, and he hasn't even realized that she has not been taking care of him in the relationship as well. So now we have a Dale that is spiraling out of control, and like I said, right, the egg is cracked. It's running everywhere. And you see the change in this episode where Dale is hardened to her. And there was a moment where everything that's going on with the story with Kay, she's asking Dale, like, what should I do or whatever? And he was like, you knew what it was when you got this story. You're trying to make it seem like you care about all people suffering from heroin addiction and what it does to families, but really you're just focused on the fact that this particular person came to you and you get to take down this particular famous family. Like, the fuck? And it annoyed me that in the privacy of their own home, she wouldn't go inside of the house and have a conversation with him, but you're still leaning on him for professional opinion after the breakup. At this point, don't even talk to him. The wounds are too fresh, and I hate that. It's like when somebody's like, oh, we can't be together. Let's not do this. It's never gonna work. And then they're like, but we can still be friends. And then the next day they're like, hey, you want to go to the movies? No, extricate yourself from my life, like right now. Don't ask me for no advice. Don't ask me for nothing. Do whatever it is that you want to do and live in color. Okay. And so Dale walks off and just such a shift. And we'll get to the Sam of it all later, but such a shift in like the character by the time you get to the end. There is such a critical change that you already know like Dale is going to be walking into his villain era by the time we get to the next episode, which is the season finale of the Newsreader. So there's that with this episode. I really wanted to focus the main review on all of those things, and then we'll do the rest in my thoughts. So what are my thoughts? First and foremost, I'm still trying to figure out what Kay Walter's role is going to be. She's been sprinkled throughout this season, but in this episode, she made a bold move by reaching out to News at 6 in the first place to basically tell the story about how her being underneath the scrutiny of her parents' fame led her to heroin. I like that Philippa portrayed the heroin addiction in a way that showed respect to people and families who suffered at the hands of addiction. I love the way that the storyline leaned more into I think one of the questions that Helen asked was like, you know, you come from a well-off family, you've been handed every opportunity in life. How could somebody like you fall prey to heroin? And Kay says, you know, heroin doesn't have like a tax bracket. It's not looking to say, hey, we're going after poor people. Anybody can fall victim to it based on the circumstances and the things that they feel are weighing them down in life. So something that's weighing somebody poor down, those same things aren't all of a sudden not weighing me down just because my parents are well off. Depression has no tax bracket. Like it has no discretion. Feeling like you aren't living up to other people's expectations of you doesn't have like a bank account or anything like that. And so I love that while these hard questions were getting answered, this was something that was done in a careful way in which you did sympathize and empathize with somebody who may be seen as privileged, but the way that she relayed how she got into this in the first place, I think anybody, whether they're rich or not, understands if you're somebody, if you're an only child or if you're the oldest child, or if you're the golden child, you understand the pressures and the weight that a family can put on you. I mean, think about an athlete. You come from a poor place, but your mama or your daddy found out you were really good at football. You want to work at NASA, but now it's football camp, it's practice, it's training, it's all these other things. And so you're breaking your back for somebody else's perception of you and for somebody else's dream to be realized through you. And no matter the tax bracket, like I said, people can understand what high expectations feel like, and not everybody rises to the occasion, not everybody pushes back, and some people unfortunately crumble under the weight of that, and sometimes that crumbling includes substance abuse. And so I really love that. But while I was confused at the back and forth that she was providing in this episode, I really think that Kay is going to take a huge step into um into the final episode of this season, as well as in season 3. I've seen some stuff in season 3, so I kind of know her and Dale kind of cross paths in some way, shape, or form. I don't know in what capacity. I'm literally limiting my knowledge for this. So again, if you already seen this because you're in Australia or you have access to ABC iView, trust and believe I am making sure I stay away from all things spoiler, so I can come here for everybody else who doesn't have ABC iView, and I can really be blind to the things that I'm talking about. So I think that she's going to take a huge step in episode 6. The dogs are over here fighting over the toys. Y'all is crazy. But I'm definitely curious. She wanted to sell this story, but then at the last minute, she decided to take it back. She was even given the money back. So I'm definitely curious to see like what that conversation was with her parents, and did she take a step back because she felt like it was the wrong idea, or was there some type of bullying, some type of threatening situation happening with Geoff and her mama that made her be like, okay, this isn't worth it. I still need them, etc. I have no idea. I already kind of talked a little bit about how I love Jerry and Dale's friendship. I hope that Jerry stays around. Definitely want Tim to be around. Um, because y'all, Dale woke up in the bed of some stranger. And I want to say he kind of like checked his body a little bit to see or confirm if anything happened. And I was like rewinding as he lifted up the sheets. And I think he was like checking his butt. But I wasn't sure like if the facial expression was one that confirmed or denied that either he did something or not. And this was such a good, it was such an acting choice. Don't know if it was written in the script. I do know that there was a lot more flexibility with being able to improv a lot of things in the newsreader versus, like I said, Sam was also filming Interview with a Vampire during this time, and everything that they did was like on the page. Sam talks about a lot like, no, like this was just on the page. Yeah, we leaned into it, we pushed it farther, but the page said to do this, and so we tried it out. Um, Such subtlety. So I don't know if any newsreader fans watches the Bridgerton watches, yeah, the Bridgerton series, but y'all remember the infamous carriage scene in season 4, and he goes and they're in the carriage, and then when he's fixing her dress strap, he only uses 2 fingers. Acting choice, right? And so most times when you see like movies and shows and somebody wakes up super hungover and they don't really know if they slept with anybody, they kind of just look over and they're like, okay, well, I don't have no clothes on. You don't have no clothes on. Fuck, I made a terrible decision. And then it'd be like 20 minutes later into the show or into the movie, and it's like, oh, I can't believe like last night was a mistake. Like we should have never done that. And the person's like, bro, we didn't do nothing. And there's never really like an investigation. I just loved, like, I think as an acting choice, whether it was written or not, I love that Dale kind of like looked over and was like, who the fuck is this? And then he lifts up the sheets and he's kind of like inspecting and checking to see like what was going on. And then he's like sneaking out of the house. Okay. So, he ends up showing up to work the next day, and he's super hungover. He's super hungover. He can't do the news story or anything like that. But it turned out to be something that Helen decided that she wasn't going to do either. She did not continue on with the Kay Walter story, and she just walked off the set, y'all. And where did she go? To one Charles Tate's house and stuck her tongue all down his throat. And I was like, bitch. Both in a fascinating way and an accusatory way, because how you just gonna do Dale like that? How you just gonna do Dale? How you gonna do Dale like that? I don't like it. Helen, I don't like you. I don't like you. But baby, when I tell you she went in tongue first, she went in tongue first. And I'm just like, boy, Charles, stand up. I mean, I would have been on the ground, but I'm just saying, stand up. And I just love too, like Charles was this powerful person and then he lost his job. But as Helen walked up to the house, she got her little switch and stuff going on as she's going up these steps. And physically, when you look at how they walked into frame, she's taller than him. So when you just look at like the height dynamic, the way that she initiated the kiss, she grabbed him by the back of his head and stuck her tongue in his mouth while looking down on him. Just the physicality of the power change in Helen being underneath and having these men have their foot on her and on her career between season 1 and season 2. And for physically to see this change, to see her tower over him at the end of this frame lets you know, like story wise, that Helen is about to be on top for quite some time. Whereas the opposite, you see Dale getting ready to harden and getting ready to change into somebody that he is not, and might change into a Helen or a version of Helen that which he wants to portray And so while she's actually on top and taking matters into her own hands and controlling her own narrative, Dale is shifting in a place where he is not controlling his own narrative and he is about to be controlled by his feelings. As foreshadowed in this entire episode, everything that he did, every decision that he made, every arm cross, every pout, every longing look, getting drunk, getting fucked up, going to sleep with somebody else, he is now going to be ruled by his feelings. But also in that, you can see how he's going to bury these things because even when the times that he was on the desk, he's looking at Helen and he's like, we need to talk today on News at 6. Like, he has mastered being fake. And this is just not going to be good for my mans. This is not going to be good for my mans. But of course, as always, I cannot leave a review or a recap without talking about Sam Reid, the actor. The body in this episode in trying to balance his newfound confidence with the old Dale that we met in season 1, episodes 1 and 2. That body language, trying to keep his shoulders back even though he wants to curl in on himself, trying to maintain composure at the desk even though right before they said 5 4 3 2 1 his whole face was cracked. And so you're watching a master at work and watching warring emotions play out from every level in this man's body, like subatomic, molecular, cellular, like the control that he has, the way that he was moving on the dance floor, the way that he was kind of sloppy drunk at the holiday party, the hallway scene between him and Helen, where it was like a chasm in front of them, and you could just feel this weight. The way that he gets off the wall and kind of like walks off like a storm off, like everything about Dale, much like Lestat, is in the way that he moves. And when you think about other shows, I mean, just think about shows that are similar in like profession to this and like outfits. So you're thinking like Suits, any type of lawyer show. And most people are kind of acting or like walking the way that they normally walk, or provide like a little bit of a swagger. A lot of women, I do know, I watch a lot of interviews, a lot of women take into account what their body looks like, how it moves, how powerful they want to be, how sexy they want to be, especially when they're in suits and especially when they're in positions of power. um and it's very rare in a TV show. You do get it in, you get it in movies, especially if you're embodying like a superhero character or a book character where it was already characterized inside of the book that they were to act a certain way, sound a certain way, move a certain way, like a Lestat, right? He moves in a very mercurial, very vampiric way. But with Dale, it's all about like how Dale feels, and for Sam to kind of internalize and really understand the personality and the feelings of this character, the backstory of the character as being somebody who thought himself a freak, thought himself weird, and all the stuff that Dale has gone through, the way that it is in every single way that he moves, the way that he interprets, the way that his face, his mouth, his arms, really speaks to, again, Sam Reid just becoming a vessel to the craft, a vessel to the pages that's laid out in front of him. I don't know that I've seen this much put into it in a TV character. And I watch a lot of TV. And it's not to say that other men haven't done it across TV. I'm not saying that. But when I think about women, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is like Once Upon a Time, right? Um, and you're looking at all of these different ways in which you have to move and embody somebody. I think about Reasonable Doubt, the main character Jax on there. Um, I think about Maxine Shaw from Living Single. Like, shows where the suit, the outfit, is a character in and of itself. And Anna Torv does the same thing with Helen as a character. But with Anna, it's always been Helen is the suits are her armor. And when the armor is off, she doesn't necessarily fall weak. She's just a little sore. She's flexing her muscles. But even though she's somebody who suffers from, mental health issues that could sometimes be debilitating, with her having Dale, you know, it's just been a little soreness. It hasn't been crumpling in the bed and things like that. Whereas Helen's not pouring into Dale. She's honestly been taking away from him this whole season, right? He's gotten, more confident from her as we saw in season 1, but in this season, she's been kind of leveling up and she's been hardening her armor. And Dale, he's doing the things and he has his suit on, his shoulders are back, but every time she would lash out, you could see him retreating in a way that Helen doesn't retreat. And this goes into the backstories and the actors really understanding what it is to bring into this, to bring this thing to life. And again, I just cannot sing the praises enough at how incredible it is to watch this with the knowledge of how he moves as the vampire Lestat. Like, there is no Sam Reid in Dale Jennings. It's Dale Jennings, the person jumping out at you on the screen. I will say that I loved the pacing of this episode. I think it was 57 minutes. It was written by Niki Aken. Not a lot of people can write good filler episodes. I'm just saying it. Not a lot of people can write good fillers. But this was a nice filler that gave you like that breather away from a failed proposal and really showed you the path of the breakup. Helen is getting over by getting under, and Dale is getting over by getting under the influence. And we're definitely going to see like how this plays out going forward. Um, my poor baby. My poor baby. And with that, AMC Plus, let's get season 3. I keep saying, since y'all over here, y'all want to keep using Sam Reid's face from the newsreader and you want to keep using screenshots and stuff on your socials about the vampire Lestat and interviewed with a vampire, everything like that. You know when the vampire Lestat is coming out. So again, I say again, time it so that season 3 of the newsreader can come out before the vampire Lestat. I don't want a break from Sam Reid, okay? I don't need a break. So since y'all gonna be using him in his likeness and getting all of his TBL fans to come over here and watch the newsreader, because I know what y'all doing. I know what you're doing. You are, and it's very smart. It's very smart. A lot of people on my socials are discovering the newsreader for the first time. A lot of people are rediscovering the newsreader with me. They've already seen it, but we're watching it together again because they miss Sam Reid on their TV, which is fine. Give us season 3. Thanks. And with that is going to wrap up this episode. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments in the comments box below. If you got people that only want to listen to it, make sure you share the Spotify and the Apple Podcast link. You can always find me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast, where I share film and TV news and updates. You can find me on TikTok at Keep On Chi, where I do reviews on things that I do not talk about on this channel. You can also leave some requests on any of my videos on TikTok. You can also leave some requests for me to review certain things underneath the comments. If you want me to do character analysis, if you want me to do scene analysis, I'm open to all of the things. I literally live and breathe film and TV. And you can always find me on Twitter at Kivanchi, where I'm talking about everything that I'm watching, even stuff that I'm never going to review or anything like that, because I genuinely just love watching TV and film for fun. With that, I made a few changes to my channel. If you're over there on YouTube, some of y'all only come to me for certain shows, and that is great. There are only certain shows that I go from start to finish as well. So if you notice, if you go to the playlist area or if you click on podcast area, you will see that I have organized 4 specific shows into podcasts. So you could just skip past all the other stuff that I'm talking about and go straight to your favorite show that you like for me to talk about. It is the Newsreader, the Gilded Age. What's up to my Gilded Age fam? Anne Rice's Immortal Universe, where I'm going to be not only discussing Interview with a Vampire, doing character analysis, book analysis will be coming up. The Talamasca is coming out in October, as well as the Vampire Lestat. So if you're here for all things Sam Reid, because you like the Vampire Lestat, then all of that stuff is compiled underneath there. And if you're also here for the Newsreader also has its own segment as well. That way you could just skip everything else, go to whatever it is that you like, and we can interact there. So trying to be a little bit more organized, trying to see what y'all like, see what y'all want in the middle of me, doing everything that I want to do as well, because the last thing I want this to turn into is a job. I want it to be fun, not only for me, but for those who are listening and watching as well. So, again, if you have shows that you want me to cover, or if you want me to look at certain things, just let me know. Y'all be talking, I'll be talking back. I love it here. And with that, I'm going to catch y'all in the next episode.